Rated T for Teen.
My career has been a fight, a long, brutal, but necessary fight. I was told no more times than I can count, and every single time, I proved them wrong. WWE 2K26, available now.
The shoe is on the other foot as it looks like now Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head. Obafemi answers Brock Lesnar's challenge. And we have another WrestleMania match. Bayley is on today's show. Randy Orton has something up his sleeve and so much more. This is Raw Recap on WWE Now, a WWE and Fanatics original production. I don't even know where to begin. Megan Morant, we're on that road to WrestleMania. Can you feel it now? It happens every WrestleMania. People go, oh, it doesn't feel like WrestleMania. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania. Before it's because it's not WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves on this road to WrestleMania and the feelings, they hit us all like a sledgehammer to the back of the head.
People start saying that in January. It doesn't feel like the road to WrestleMania. Well, guess what? WrestleMania is in April, and on this 3/16 day, I'm feeling ready.
Happy 3/16 indeed. And what a night. We're going to talk about Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, one of my favorite opening segments of a Monday Night Raw in recent memory. But before we get to how we begin, we should get to how we end it.
I like that.
Now, Roman Reigns showed up to Monday Night Raw tonight in uncharacteristically timely fashion.
Yeah.
Now, the show had already started, but it was still within the first hour of the show being on the air.
When the car pulled up and our tribal chief got out of the car, I said to you, it's early.
It's early for Roman. Usually it's like out of the car to the ring.
Yes.
He doesn't get paid by the hour. Okay, he's there for business, but I think he had business to attend to. You know, starting by walking out of his car and approaching the Usos, and there's that tension we became so familiar with when we were in full bloodline mode, where you weren't sure if Roman was happy, if Roman was angry, if Roman was satisfied, if he was dissatisfied. And he smiled at the Usos. He said they did what they needed to do.
There was that brief pause.
Oh, 100%.
Where we all said, uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He said they did the right thing, but then he looked right at the camera. And he said, you know what? I'm going to speak to all of my family out there. Because the bloodline doesn't only travel within WWE locker rooms. It travels across. I mean, it goes wide and far.
Oh, yeah.
And Roman Reigns was saying in no uncertain terms that when CM Punk disrespected Roman Reigns, disrespected his father, the late, great Sika the Wild Samoan, he disrespected the entire bloodline family, the entire Samoan dynasty. And Roman Reigns, in the most Roman Reigns way possible, said, you all need to do whatever you need to do before and after WrestleMania. But that weekend, CM Punk is all mine. I mean, and he said, look, I didn't ask anybody to do anything. I simply gave permission. And that
I think that's a key distinction, though.
It is.
Because it's one of the things that people have been critical of Roman Reigns, that he can't do the job by himself.
Which is a ridiculous criticism. Mm-hmm. Because if it were that easy that anybody could do that job, then somebody else would have been able to do what Roman Reigns has done. Mm-hmm. If all it took was having a couple friends, if all it took was bringing some cousins to ringside, Roman's not the only wrestler who has cousins. He's the only wrestler who's done what Roman Reigns has done. I think Roman putting it out there, I think it does put it out there for Punk that, you know, you cross a line with the intention of getting to a match at WrestleMania, but realistically, you have to be accountable to everybody that you crossed. And then we see Roman Reigns a little bit later on Monday Night Raw, and he's in that dressing room, and he's kind of explaining his own way of looking at things, his own way of looking at his career, and his legacy.
Yeah, and he was talking about, how people often call out, you work a part-time schedule.
Right.
And he paid his dues. He looks at his cousins and says, how often did you guys get to see your fathers? We paid our dues. To me, being part-time is one of the biggest flexes you can have.
And it is. It is. If you get paid more for being there less days,
hell yeah.
That's what, that's what it makes you a top tier person. It makes you an attraction. That thing that is almost unattainable. That thing that makes you bigger than life. But he said anybody can call me a part-timer, as long as my wife and children don't call me a part-timer. And and honestly, it's an honorable thing to do.
Of course.
Now look, as wrestling fans, we're possessive of our superstars. You know what I mean? A part of being larger than life, part of being a superstar, means that as a fan, I don't look at wrestlers as people who have families. I don't look at wrestlers as people who have lives. I look at wrestlers as like, hey, every time I turn on the TV, every time I go to an arena, I want to see him, and I want to see him more and more and more and more. But Roman is saying, well, that's great that that's what you want, but that costs a lot of money, and some things you can't buy because I have this family that I'm going to be a father and husband to. And if you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the wrong thing to do, I think what it does is, because Roman is so good, and again, it goes back to the bloodline of owning the narrative, of taking whatever the truth is, and I think that's something that he learned from Paul Heyman when Paul Heyman was his wise man, is taking that truth and kind of reshaping it into the truth that benefits you the most. Because what that does is, in just a single, and he's just backstage, not even in the ring, not even talking to the audience. But what it does is real subtly, it tells the world who's watching on television that every time you hear somebody criticize me for being a part-timer in the ring, and you go, yeah, that is worth criticizing, you're criticizing someone who's choosing to be a husband and a father.
And that's
not good. That doesn't make you a good person.
He spends so much time with his family. What a bad guy.
See how quickly Roman reshaped that narrative? I mean, it's brilliant. It's genius in one sentence. To the point where it's like,
really hard to criticize anybody who wants to spend more time with their family.
Which is why you reshape it and go, hey, what if you looked at it from this perspective? And all of a sudden, it just takes it takes the bullets out of the gun. It takes so much ammo out of that statement that the next time somebody says it, it doesn't carry the same weight.
It does stop you in your tracks, because just like you and just like everybody else who loves seeing Roman Reigns on their TV screens, sometimes when I think about Roman Reigns not being on my TV screen, I get upset.
Right.
Oh, Roman.
But now,
he needs time for himself. Oh, Roman. Why can't he just show up to work like everybody else?
You don't want his kids to have a dad?
Well, when you put it like that.
Roman is a genius.
All right, Roman, go off. Take your kids to school. You know what? Be a chaperone on that field trip.
Give us what you can give us.
Can you imagine?
That'd be so cool. I go on every field trip. Oh, I'd be
being a kid in the class.
I know. I'd be so bad if one of my kids was in the class. I'd be like, oh yeah, I volunteer too, and they'd be like, what? Yeah. I'll take more time off work. I volunteer for that too. You'd be like, why is Sam not doing the pie? I don't know. He volunteered for another kid's field trip.
If you start missing work, we're gonna have to find out. Who's in your kid's class.
100%. You better check on that, because I would not be here.
Definitely a wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. I would not be here. I'd be at the Museum of Natural History going like, it was a good match. It was a really good match. I know. But then we get to the ring, right? And I think, this has been a topic of conversation for the last couple of weeks, because the question, ever since CM Punk said what he said about Roman's father, the question has been, where do you go from here? You've already crossed that line. Where do you go from here? And I think that it told a massive story when it happened because of the look on Roman Reigns' face. It was obvious that CM Punk had purposely crossed a line that involved family, something that Roman and the Usos and the entire bloodline, the entire dynasty, has been very, very clear as to how dear they hold family and how that's the thing that you don't mess with. And CM Punk is well aware of that, and CM Punk knows that. He did it on purpose. He knew this was the line to cross to get the reaction. And when he crossed that line, you saw it all over Roman's face. He was broken in the moment. He didn't know how to react. He couldn't believe that somebody was crossing a line that is so well known, that somebody is being so disrespectful and that somebody is going after family, which you can go back 2 years to WrestleMania 40 and see what happens when that family line gets crossed. So now Roman has to come back and say, okay, how do I deal with this, right? We saw last week on Raw, Jimmy Uso punched CM Punk in the face, and you pointed out on this podcast, CM Punk looked happy with himself.
He did. He got what he was asking for, and he even admitted that tonight.
Well, again, we're reshaping narratives. Tonight, he said, I deserved it. There's a difference between, yeah, I deserved that punch, and no, I wanted him to punch me. Are you playing a mental game, or are you taking ownership? That's two totally different things, but you can shape it to mean whatever you want if you're being manipulative, which you're dealing with CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Who are two master manipulators.
They're masterful with it. They understand the psychological game of professional wrestling better than most understand any game of anything. Mm-hmm. And so I was sitting there. This is the mental giant that I am. I said, here's what Roman Reigns has to do. Show up on Raw and just beat CM Punk into oblivion. Just let his fist do the talking. You could put the mics away, pack up all the audio equipment. We don't need it because it's just Roman Reigns beating that guy down.
Already, this is what you wanted to see.
I said he's already crossed the line. Now, That's what happens now. Now I have to physically annihilate you. There's nothing else to be done. But that's why I'm not the tribal chief. That's why I watched the tribal chief.
I found it interesting that backstage before Roman even, went out and we had the moment at the end of Raw with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I thought it was interesting that Roman said, I don't need to hear an apology from CM Punk.
Yeah, and because why would Roman Reigns on the road to WrestleMania want CM Punk to make it better? Do you think Roman Reigns wants to go to WrestleMania and fight a guy that is like, no, we're cool, we're just fighting tonight? No. Roman Reigns, and I don't think that Roman Reigns thinks an apology from CM Punk.
He's going to take back what he said.
I don't think he would find that to be an authentic apology.
No.
I don't think he would think it was heartfelt. That's not what he's after. So I go, I know what he's after. Beating him down. Again, I was incorrect. Because he goes out there, and I felt like within that conversation with CM Punk face to face, he was looking for the thing. And Punk was too. Mm-hmm. Punk's whole thing was, I'm in your head. And not only does Roman want to prove that that's not true, he wants to be the one. It's just a game of mental chess that we're seeing go back and forth. And it's like, okay, what's going to get you? Is it CM Punk bringing up Roman Reigns' real name or Samoan lineage or anything like that? Well, okay, no, that wasn't it. I thought Roman Reigns had a tremendous line. First of all, even CM Punk and the amount of time it took him to get to the ring.
Oh, yeah. He was sauntering, taking some time on the announce table.
I mean, I thought he was going to get some kind of like a calloused hand with the amount of high fives that he gave out on the way to the ring. He finally got to the ring, making Roman Reigns wait. Who at this point in the game makes Roman Reigns wait? No one. Punk. CM Punk becomes the answer. Okay, well, that didn't get him. That didn't fully knock him off his game. Okay, the other thing didn't knock him off his game. Now it's Roman Reigns' turn. Talking about being a part-time. Roman Reigns had
this was my favorite
an incredible line when he said, why don't you start paying attention to what the top dollar players do in the WWE? Why don't you ask your wife?
And I went, oh, shoot, she is a part-timer.
Oh, geez. Yeah, because she's an attraction.
That's
it's AJ
right.
Lee. Did you hear that, audience?
And every time she comes out, she has a new T-shirt.
And she should, because we're buying them.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a top dollar player. And all of a sudden, CM Punk goes from a guy. Because, look, the truth is, if CM Punk wanted to show up 4 times a year, he could.
Of course.
CM Punk is that guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He doesn't because he would tell you, I think, because he loves the game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That he's here to do this. But that didn't even do it. That wasn't the thing. I don't think CM Punk liked that. CM Punk stopped Roman from leaving. Roman didn't like that, but it wasn't the thing. And when Roman started saying, Punk said, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. You know I'm going to do it. I'm going to put you up on my shoulders. I'm going to raise you up over this beautiful head of hair, and I'm going to split your ego," he said, "across my knee, and I'm going to beat you 1, 2, 3 at WrestleMania." And Roman said, "That's not true." Roman said, "You're not faster than me. You're not stronger than me. You're not this. You're not that." And he goes, "You can't do it because you're old." And that was it.
That was the thing.
Immediately, that was it. That was the Achilles heel. That was what he didn't want to hear. Boom.
Snap.
Punched Roman Reigns right in the face. Because you're old. And you're going, I mean, look, it's a rough thing to hear. You don't want to hear that, especially when you're in this game of physicality, of athletics. You don't want to hear that, especially when you're CM Punk. You're the voice of the voiceless. You're this punk that's here. You don't want to hear Roman Reigns saying that, but
Especially
he said
when
it.
you're the world heavyweight champion.
You're the world heavyweight champion.
Having some of the best matches that you've ever had in your career.
You're the top of the roster. You're main eventing WrestleMania as the world heavyweight
Something he
champion.
didn't do when he was younger.
Right. But he said you're old. And when Roman Reigns went down, and when Roman Reigns' shoulders were draped across that bottom rope,
Oh, he had the biggest smile on his face.
he was smiling. Those beautiful pearly teeth smiling bright. Roman knew what he did. He said, "I got you. I got you. I got you right where I want you." Roman did not play into the emotions of what was going on. Roman Reigns did not say, "Oh, he made me so mad, I have to use that anger to get him back." Nope. Roman went home, cooled down, cooled out, came up with a strategy. I mean, look at Roman Reigns. He looks like he's in heaven.
He does.
He goes, "Look what I did, Phil." He called him Phil in his head. "Look what I did, Phil. That's what you did. You're in my head? You're in my head? You're the one resorting to violence." And CM Punk, if you looked at CM Punk's face as he was leaving, he knew he had made a mistake.
Yes, because last week, CM Punk was the one who was on those ropes making that exact same face to the Usos.
And Roman was watching that,
Of course he was.
going, okay, I see the game. Let's find where you're at. Let's find your thing. I bet I can get there.
I love the jabs back and forth. We're wondering the entire time, who's going to get to who?
And now you're sitting.
What's the line going to be?
That's right. Because you asked me who's going to strike first in terms of physicality.
Yes,
You
I
asked me that like a week or two ago. And I said, what did I say? I think I said Roman Reigns.
You said
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
But what I didn't realize was we were going to play this game of one-upsmanship where it's like in sales. They say that the rule of sales is whoever talks first loses. When you're playing this game of who is mentally stronger, who is the person who is actually in control of this situation, the person who resorts to physical violence first loses. And CM Punk, who started this whole thing, "I've already won because I'm in your head." He's been saying that from the very beginning. He's the one that struck first. And I think he sees how lethal Roman Reigns is when it comes to creeping up into that brain, creeping up in there and just messing around with everything. It was remarkable.
We won't see Roman Reigns now until Madison Square Garden?
No, I don't think. I think he's
back next week?
I don't know if he was advertised for next week, but I think. No, I have no idea.
Okay.
Look, don't ask me. I don't make Roman's schedule. You know who makes Roman's schedule?
His family.
Yep. Roman, and he checks in with his family. Does this week work for us? We'll see. But I will tell you that I actually do get to spend most days with Roman Reigns in my household. You know why?
Why?
2K26. Matter of fact, this episode is brought to you by WWE 2K26. We spend every week here on Raw Recap dissecting the rivalries and the title hunts, but in WWE 2K26, the show never stops, transforming you from an audience member into the ultimate decision maker. Yes, step into the ring and run the world's greatest show with the largest roster in franchise history. We're talking over 400 playable characters, superstars, and legends, from the rebellious Attitude Era icons to today's undeniable champions. This year's game is truly unmissable. Embrace the unexpected with brand new match types like I Quit, Inferno, Dumpster, and 3 Stages of Hell matches. Stack tables, break the rules, and turn up the chaos. Control your universe, craft your legacy, and show the world what you're made of. WWE 2K26 is available now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, and Nintendo Switch 2. And if I can make a personal recommendation, go into Brawl mode, hit up that scrapyard. It is the funnest thing that you could possibly do with your free time. I mean, the mechanics on this thing are wild. I'm having so much fun with it. 2K26 available now. Speaking of being a matchmaker, I couldn't have. I feel like to a degree we were all matchmaker. This was a match that I think all of us have wanted at least all year long, if not longer. And it's no longer speculative. It's official, graphic and all. WrestleMania 42, Las Vegas, Nevada. Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. Go for it.
I was going to say, who?
I knew you were. I can feel it building in your chest. I didn't want to take it away from you.
Oh my gosh. When Oba Femi's music hit tonight.
Oh, I mean, look at that graphic. Just
so many muscles.
Many muscles. Oba versus Brock in Las Vegas at WrestleMania. An unbelievable reality that we are in right now.
Well, and as soon as Paul Heyman came out a few weeks ago and talked about Brock Lesnar and how there is the Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania, because it used to be the Undertaker match, but then who defeated Undertaker to end the streak? It was Brock Lesnar. So now there's the main event of WrestleMania and there's the Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. And who is going to step up to the beast?
It can be a career maker, but also a career ender. Because as much as it's a big deal, it's Brock Lesnar.
And as soon as Paul Heyman uttered those words and talked about the Brock Lesnar match, the entire crowd started chanting Oba Femi's name. And it sort of planted the seed of, are we going to get it?
It did. But there was no guarantee because there's so many different roads to go down.
And Oba's still a free agent.
He is still a free agent. And look, Paul Heyman's made a lot of enemies, and everything is in this constant state of flux. Like tonight, we
didn't even know if Paul Heyman was going to be there tonight.
We knew he wasn't going to be there.
With Brock Lesnar, though.
And then he showed up anyway.
Yes.
We knew he was out indefinitely. And then Paul Heyman showed up to Monday Night Raw, honestly not suitable to be on television.
No, didn't look it at all.
No, there was a reason.
Bloodshot eyes, looking disheveled, hasn't shaved. The tie was a mess.
He didn't even get the top button up.
He looked bad.
He looked bad, but also I don't blame him for looking bad because he got stomped and steel-chaired 2 weeks ago by Seth Rollins.
And then kidnapped by LA Knight.
And kidnapped in an ambulance by LA Knight to add insult to injury. I mean, look, he's sitting there. One eye is puffy. That's probably the eye that made contact first with the floor. Marks on his nose. He's not shaving again, this Paul Heyman. I mean, his eyes kept watering.
I haven't seen him like this since he was losing sleep after, Roman Reigns wasn't answering his phone call.
And even then, it wasn't like this because he wasn't physically injured. He was just mentally drained. Here, I mean, it looks like he might still be wearing the same suit from when he got stomped.
Stinky.
I mean, but he said he didn't want to miss this. He wouldn't miss this for the world. Seth Rollins comes out to start Raw. You got all these masked men surrounding the ring, and Seth Rollins steps up and takes the mask off. And he makes it really clear that the vision is his. Mm-hmm. He started the vision, and the biggest mistake that he's ever made, and he's made some, was attaching himself to Paul Heyman.
And letting him in his inner circle.
Letting Paul Heyman in his inner circle. He said, I am going to make sure that I rid this business, that I cut Paul Heyman. This is the new vision. When the vision first formed, it was based on Seth Rollins having this idea for what the industry should be, but realizing that he was so passionate about the future of the industry that he needed to be the one to control it. He has not lost that. He's just restructured what that vision is and realizing that Paul Heyman needs to be cut out of the business. It's Seth Rollins' new vision for what the future should be. And when Paul Heyman came out, I think Seth Rollins was surprised. I think most people were surprised, especially as you pointed out after everybody saw him. but he said straight up that he's out to F with Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins F'd with him. And there's a game called FAFO. FAFO. FAF5. After uttering the words that Seth Rollins was after anybody who is standing next to Paul Heyman, the one man who has been standing next to Paul Heyman longer than any other. And when I say man, I mean alpha male of the species. Brock Lesnar shows up and just starts dismantling masked men like he's a Ninja Turtle and their foot
Suplex
soldiers.
City.
I mean, all over the place. Like he's Luke with a lightsaber and they're just stormtroopers. Just all of them getting thrown every which way.
I mean, if I was one of those guys, I'd be happy to have a mask on. Because that's probably one of the most embarrassing moments of your life.
You don't want your family to see you in that position.
No.
No. But Seth wasn't concerned.
No, not nervous whatsoever.
Seth-
Not breaking a sweat.
No, Seth was watching it happen. And then when Brock Lesnar stepped right up to Seth Rollins.
Seth wasn't hiding behind any of the masked man
No.
or anything.
No, well, he was standing there knowing the masked men would slow this down.
Of course, because they work for Seth.
But once the masked men were disposed of, he still wasn't concerned. The lights go out. And when Oba's music hit, I mean, San Antonio went absolutely nuts for the realization of what was happening. Boom. I mean, and Oba showing up, and it's not just his physical size, it's his ability to own the moment. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, God bless him. I don't know if I've ever seen a worse FAFO player than Paul Heyman. He did it with Adam Pearce. He lost. He did it tonight. He lost.
I mean, what a time to continue FAing and FOing in the state that he's in.
He definitely FO'd.
Yes.
He definitely did. Because
he might need to stop FAing.
I would if I were him.
Yeah.
Because of the owing.
A little timeout. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the FOing after that is what's costly, clearly.
Yes.
It's done a number on
He's
him.
finding out a lot.
Unfortunately, he is. Seth Rollins starts stepping up to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar kind of goes for Seth. Seth backs away, but in that one moment, it's all Oba needs. Oba, picks up Brock Lesnar, this animal that Brock is.
Without hesitation.
Just picks him right up by the legs, throws him up in the air, and power bombs Brock Lesnar down like I don't know that I've ever seen before. If you go back to the 2002 battles that Brock Lesnar had with the Big Show, I don't know if we saw Brock Lesnar handled the way that Obafemi handled Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw and stood over him.
We didn't even need words from Obafemi. That was enough to say, I guess he's stepping up to Brock and accepting this challenge.
And here's the thing for Brock. First of all, and it reminded me, when you look at him and you look at Brock having his chest stepped on, and you can see him, he's screaming in anguish, in pain, in embarrassment, maybe. I don't know, in just not knowing.
All of the above.
You know, talk about jumping in head first and realizing maybe you don't know how to swim. Brock did not know the situation he was in, and it's very, very, very rare that you say Brock didn't know the situation that he was in. But there was also a look on Brock's face when the music started playing. I got a text. You know who the text was from?
Who was the text from?
Hot Dog.
Oh, what did Hot Dog have to say?
Wait till you hear. And he hit the nail
Hit
on
me
the
with
head.
this expert analysis from Hot Dog.
He said, when's the last time Brock had fear like this? And then he wrote LOL because he's obnoxious. He writes LOL after every sentence. But, that look on Brock's face when you were like, there's fear on Brock's face.
It's the LOL that Hot Dog sends you.
I don't know what
He's a little fearful that he was wrong.
But he wasn't wrong. He was right.
No, he's right.
That's
He's
true. That's
right.
probably is what it is.
LOL. It was just
I'm just
a joke.
kidding,
LOL.
unless I'm not kidding. But he shouldn't have been kidding because he was 100% right.
Yes.
Brock, with fear on his face as he watched Oba come to the ring, Seth Rollins retreating, Brock Lesnar getting powerbombed, Oba using his actions to answer Brock Lesnar's challenge. And before the night is over, the graphic is made. Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi is official for WrestleMania. I mean, first of all, do you think Seth knew Oba was coming out?
You know, when they kept cutting back and forth, we saw Oba entering, and then we saw Brock's reaction. And Seth was off to the side. We didn't see any of Seth's reaction whatsoever.
Right.
Seth didn't seem rattled.
He was
didn't
standing in the
seem
corner.
Shocked.
Nope.
His body language didn't really deliver much of any emotion.
It seemed like he was in control the entire time.
That's right. So based on that, I'm going to go with yes.
I feel like he did too.
I'm going to go with yes.
And I think he knew when he was stepping up to Brock Lesnar, he was allowing Oba this opportunity.
Yes, because we do know that Seth Rollins is not medically cleared.
That's right.
So Seth can't step up to Brock Lesnar right now.
Well, I don't know if anybody's going to tell Seth Rollins what he can or can't do with all these masked men around him.
True. But if he's not medically cleared.
Do you think Oba realizes it's going to be a different scenario when Brock's full concentration is on Oba? Brock Lesnar.
Right now, I don't think Oba realizes that right now.
He's going to have to.
Yeah, of course.
Because now it's like, now Brock Lesnar is wow, he's Nelson Muntz. You made me bleed my own blood. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not what you want to do.
Yes.
Brock Lesnar eating the mat like that is like, unless you can do it hard enough that Brock's not getting back up, that can be a costly decision to make. And for Oba,
if anybody can do it hard enough where Brock's not getting back up, though,
sure.
it is Oba.
But Oba arguably has more to lose
Yes.
than anyone. This is a huge gamble for Oba Femi. I think that Oba has the potential to benefit here tremendously. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if Oba loses to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, you have to wonder if that aura that Oba carries will still be with him, or this early will Oba be fighting from beneath. I mean, I saw what he did to Rusev last week. It doesn't seem like we have a lot to worry about, but this is Brock Lesnar. This is a different animal. This is the beast.
And Oba's never been to WrestleMania before.
No.
Oba's never been in the ring with someone like Brock Lesnar.
No, he hasn't. I mean, listen, all that said, I have yet to see Oba Femi in a wrestling ring in a position that feels like he doesn't belong. You remember when you and I spoke to Oba Femi at John Cena's last match?
Yeah.
It was a big stage for Oba Femi. He was fighting Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. You know, the idea that like, oh boy, Oba Femi has never wrestled somebody like Brock Lesnar. He's wrestled Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
The WWE champion.
At John Cena's last match.
QB1. He was in the ring with Cody. And then he shared the ring with Drew in that same situation that he was in the ring with Cody. Like he's been there a little bit. But when we talked to Oba Femi, the most striking thing to me was not just his size, but the fact that he owned the space that he was in. Mm-hmm. The fact that when I looked in that dude's eyes, he seemed ready for this.
Of course.
There was no sort of, gee, I can't believe I'm finally going to make it. Oh, boy, can you imagine what it'll be like when I'm on the main roster? Whew, this is intimidating, but I think I'm ready for it. No.
And he certainly was happy to be there, of course, but also a sense of belonging.
I don't even know if it was, to me, I felt like it was more like, hey, sure, I appreciate being here, but you guys should be happy that I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm changing the whole thing right now. And in that conversation, he talked about wiping some of these people that have been here too long out and taking over. Oba Femi's not here to be humble and to be, one of the guys that's like, man, in 3-4 years, he could really be somebody. Oba Femi's here to take it now.
And that's how you do it. You answer Brock Lesnar's challenge.
You know who the last rookie was that came in and said, I do not have this like reverence for the old timers, and I'm not here to do this over the course of several years. I'm here to take it all now.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. In 2002. And you know what he did?
He did that.
He won the world title and he beat everybody. That was Brock. He main evented his first WrestleMania. He's a special type of person. He showed up the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 18. and he main evented WrestleMania 19. This is Brock Lesnar. And Obafemi goes, yeah, that's the type of impact that I'm looking to have now. O2 Brock impact. So what do I do if that's what I'm looking for? He's the first guy I take out. And I mean, if he does, tonight was a career maker for Oba.
Of course.
Tonight was a forever moment for Oba. And it leads to this match. Win or lose, this is going to be something that is talked about for a long time in reference to Obafemi. And it is going to shape the road that this career goes down.
I can't wait.
It's going to be really, really exciting. But I'll tell you, when we talk about WrestleMania, somebody that's looking to get to WrestleMania is Bayley.
Yep.
She had her match with AJ Lee tonight. She had her conversation with Lyra Valkyria and the Kabuki Warriors. And she's got time now to join us here on WWE Now Raw Recap. Welcome to WWE Now, Bayley. Bayley, how are you?
I'm all right. Sam. How are you?
I mean, I'm great. I haven't had the evening that you've had. I would imagine it's a little bit complicated. On one end, it's all about going to WrestleMania. On the other end, you also shared the ring with AJ Lee, which had to be a fairly emotional experience.
Yeah, I think leading up to it, it really was. I mean, who would have ever thought that we would have come this far? You know, like I was just talking earlier how like her last match on Raw, she was wearing my Hugger shirt, and I remember like I had fallen asleep on the couch after a big day at training at the PC, and woke up to that of her sitting on the ropes, you know, wearing my shirt, and that was her last match on Raw, and then to come, you know, literally like full circle. I don't think I ever thought we'd be standing in the ring together again. So all of that aside, what it really came down to it was, you know, trying to get to WrestleMania, and maybe that's not my path, or maybe that wasn't my path, you know, but according to my tag partner, you know, we got to find a new one. And I'm okay with that because my tag partner is a little determined. You know, I think I got a little in her head. I think she's understood how my brain operates. I think she knows how strong this heart is, and it doesn't stop until we get what we deserve. And that's WrestleMania. You know, Kyrie and Asuka are going to find out soon.
I do. You're a strong-willed human being. Listen, you've been here for a long time. You've been in the WWE for a long time. You've been a part of ups and downs. You've been a part of title matches at WrestleMania, and then other instances where you're fighting like you are now to find the path to get to WrestleMania. You brought up AJ and wearing your shirt on her last match on Monday Night Raw. You were in an extremely different place then than you are now, where somebody like AJ Lee wearing your T-shirt on television was a big deal. I mean, AJ clearly did that on purpose to support you, knowing that she could do that. Do you kind of take pause at all, kind of realizing how much you've done and where you're at now, and like the fact that maybe, you know, in the moment trying to figure out what you're doing this year for WrestleMania is one thing, but overall, I mean, you've kind of achieved a pretty incredible like ascension in the ranks of this women's division, especially historically.
But it's Sam, thing is what makes the greats great is that we don't stop, you know, like there's always something more to chase. And that's what I mean, where I really wanted to win that championship match. I've never held the Intercontinental Championship. It wasn't only about getting to WrestleMania. I'm a Grand Slam Women's Champion, but I've never had that title. I've never had the United States Championship. And now I have a new friend and a partner in Lyra Valkyria, who like last year I let her down because I was jumped and didn't get to make it to WrestleMania. Although she went on without me, she had to pay for it too. You know, if I was with her in that ring and we won the tag titles together, she would have never had to go through that crap that she did with Becky Lynch. So the way that I feel about this business and the way that I feel about the division, there's no stopping. You know, it doesn't get easier. It doesn't make me want less because I've achieved all these things. If anything, it makes me want more because I've had a taste of what it's like. And now being in a partnership with Lyra, she's doing all these things for the first time, and I feed off that. And that's what keeps me going. I want to do these things with her. I want to become a tag team champion with her. You know, like you can't be up here forever, and I understand that. But when you get knocked down, like I always say, a true testament to who you are and to your character is what you do when your back is against the wall. You know, someone like Becky Lynch, who just did what she did to my friend AJ Lee out there. She's up here, but she's never been where I've been, you know? She's never been kicked off of WrestleMania. Maybe I should do that to her this year, huh? Or maybe I'll just follow what Lyra said. But if someone is down here, you have to, that's really a test of who you are. And I'll be damned if I let someone tell me like that's where you belong, because I'm going to prove them wrong every time. And Lyra is going to help me do that.
I think the strength in the division is really illustrated when you look at the women's tag division, because you talk about Asuka, you talk about Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, you talk about yourself in the tag division with Lyra Valkyria, the Bella Twins returning on SmackDown. And just like you said, Bayley, it's when you're at the top, you have to find ways to stay there, and you have to find ways to reinvent and find ways to make it to WrestleMania or become a tag team champion. But now that you're standing next to Lyra, and there's all of those names that I just threw out at you, do you feel a little bit rejuvenated knowing that you're entering maybe a situation with someone who hasn't been there before?
As in with Lyra?
Yes.
You know, it's weird because it seems like being in a tag team with someone, it should be somebody that you've known a long time and that you've earned and you've gained this trust with each other. But we were thrown into this tag team last year. I had no idea who she was, but you know, like it's what I'm just saying is like, okay, what are you going to do? Whatever they give you, I'm going to make it the best. We're going to be in this tag team, then we're going to make it the best. And we won that gauntlet match last year to get us that opportunity at WrestleMania. We went through 5 tag teams together for a tag team that had the least experience together. And we won that match. We earned that WrestleMania title shot. And then it was taken away from us, you know? And since that match, and I got taken out from WrestleMania, and she still went on and she showed me that I can do this and I'm going to do it for you. And it didn't work out. Since that night, we've been pushing and we've been pushing and we've been pushing, and Adam Pearce has been ignoring and ignoring and ignoring. Nia and Lash got tag team championship matches before us against Rio. We've never even got to step in the ring with them. So Adam Pearce, this is towards you. Then you got the Bella Twins in a championship match before us. Are you kidding me? I don't know what we're doing. I know I had all this other stuff going on with Raw, but me and Lyra have been in a tag team since last WrestleMania. So you know what? What are we going to do? We're going to kick the door down, Jackie. That's from Chris Tucker of Rush Hour.
That's right. That's what you have to do. But you also know, I mean, and you're right, it goes back to your point when you responded to the last question that I asked you, that regardless of what you've done, regardless of what your history has been, you know that you have to do that. And I feel like everything that you've done and everything that you've accomplished, that's kind of always been the story, it's forcing the hand.
Yep. But I'm still here. You know, if all of those things, if things that kept happening, and that's wrestling, that's WWE, if all of these things kept trying, if they stopped me, you know, or stopped Lyra, if she gave up after her hero, turned her back on her, I wouldn't be here right now, because she helped me get through this whole year. I wouldn't have been here without her. And if all those times where I tripped over something, or all those times that I got told like, nope, sorry, not today, not today, not today, I wouldn't have been in the ring with AJ Lee on Raw 11 years later when she returned to WWE as the Women's Intercontinental Champion. None of those things would have happened. So if we were to stop right now and be like, well, our road to WrestleMania is done, then what would that, maybe in 5 years, we're going to be the tag team champion. Maybe we're going to win the tag team championships, and maybe we're going to be the tag team champions for 5 years. You know, what if there's a tag team that's watching us right now and they're like, oh my God, that could be us. And we've been champions for 5 years, and they come in and they get a title shot and they win. Big moment for them. But what if we would have given up today? Then they would have never had that opportunity. This business is magic. I don't care what anybody says. I'm built on magic, and I fight for the magic, and I won't stop fighting for the magic until we get what we deserve. And Adam Pearce, you're going to pay for it. You know what? When we have these matches and we get what we want, you're going to be right there to raise our hands and give us a big old hug.
I could not agree with you more about the magic, and maybe Adam Pearce does need to get reminded of that. And I feel like, I mean, I think this is why people love you, Bayley, is because you've always, I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, believed in this magic of professional wrestling. It's how we got to know you from the very beginning. I think it's how you've carried yourself throughout your journey in the WWE and beyond. And I say beyond because on Saturday, my phone starts going off, going like, are you watching AAA? Bayley just showed up on AAA. Bayley's on AAA right now. For you, who believes in that magic of professional wrestling, to step into AAA and to experience that, to answer that challenge, what was that like for you?
That was the best. You know, I love wrestling in Mexico, but I love that's the thing is like you can't ever be content or comfortable or like I just want to do more and I want to meet more people. I want to perform in front of more people. And the fact that I got asked to do that was an honor. For one thing, it's one of their biggest shows of the year and against one of their, you know, the women's champion who just like broke a record and became the longest reigning women's champion. To me, that's a huge honor and is a little tip of the cap to me. But to be able to, you know, it's hard in this business to actually keep it a secret. So I was very excited to be able to hide from everybody and really show up where literally nobody knew I was there. And I was personally very overwhelmed by the response. And it just made everything so worth it. You know, I could be upset about the loss and those little cheaters who I'm not going to let them get away with. I have their numbers. But that is what was the most important to me, that no matter what, everywhere in the world, people recognize how much and what I feel about this. And that I don't care if I do it here. I don't care if I do it there. I don't care if I do it in TNA. I care about this and I will always give my whole heart to them. They will always get the real me.
Are you surprised at all? Like, you know, there's one type of wrestling fan that watches every different type of wrestling there is and watches wrestling from all over the world. And, you know, if this were, I don't know, 25 years ago, would be trading VHS tapes with people that they meet online and everything. But there's another type of wrestling fan that really only watches WWE. And this is the world that they're exposed to. And for me as a fan of all of it, I think it's been amazing watching so many WWE fans not only get exposed to AAA, but embrace it and be like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Like, sorry to cut you off, but it's one of those things where I love Lucha Libre. I've always been a fan of AAA. One of my trainers from back home, his name's Jason Styles, is a huge fan, like would constantly reference AAA as we were training. He was a very, very into Lucha. And so when he found out that I was on it, he really freaked out. So for like my old trainer to freak out about me being able to wrestle for this company and to see how it's mixed into, you know, now that WWE is a part of it as well, to watch them keep this true spirit of Lucha Libre and what that company means to Mexico, but also bring in the WWE audience and the superstars and the people backstage and give that little spin on it. I couldn't talk about it enough. You know, I was in the back, like, this is just the perfect combination of what I love, you know, the stories, the characters, the physicality, the crowd. The real thing was like the audience getting so excited for every little thing and not overthinking what wrestling should be. They were in the experience with us and with them. It was beautiful and so refreshing, and I just want to go back, like now, like every time. Chelsea Green texts me afterwards. She's like, "Isn't your cup so full? AAA is the best." Like it's infectious, and I'm so honored that I got to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Speaking of your cup being full, tonight there was a moment in your match with AJ Lee where you were on the outside of the ring, and you crawled up that commentary table and you looked up. And Michael Cole was talking about what you're fighting for and WrestleMania and everything. With this history that you have with Michael Cole, I couldn't tell if this was another bit of that tension or if maybe just for a moment you were motivated by Michael Cole.
You know what? Speaking of cup being full, I wish he had a full cup of coffee in his hand that I can spill in his face. But like, obviously I know what's going on, Michael Cole. The WrestleMania sign is right in front of me. AJ Lee is right behind me, and the tag and the title is right to the side of me. I know what's going on. That's why we're here right now. It's WrestleMania season. You don't have to say it to my face. I know you're doing your job, but maybe you could wait till I turn back around to like say that. But maybe I didn't need that, you know, Michael Cole. He really did push me in the pandemic era. He really did push me to the edge and kind of made me irritated. And maybe that's why I was a double champ. Who knows? Maybe he's the secret weapon. maybe that's something I can use.
Wow.
But we're not going to let him know. Okay, there could be no. He cannot be any more cocky. All right, let's just leave that between us.
That's smart.
I'm just
Whatever he
surprised
did,
you didn't call him an idiot.
he isn't. Well, I don't need to call him. He is. Like, it just says it on his head, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just his name.
Well, I'm glad you're fighting to make sure that ego doesn't get any bigger, but I'm also glad that you're fighting to make sure that you get on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And we hope.
You know what?
Yeah.
Michael Cole also thinks he talks a big game when it comes to WrestleMania because he's undefeated.
Oh, God.
So you know what, Michael Cole, if you want to go to WrestleMania, this has been built for 6 years now. He keeps trying to say, let's go to WrestleMania. I'm undefeated. Well, I don't have a match.
Whoa.
So, there it is.
Put the
Maybe
streak.
I found my
Let's
ticket.
go.
Put the streak on the line, Michael Cole. Put the streak on the line. Let's get to 1-1.
Coward.
Coward. Bailey, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being so
Bailey.
generous with your time. You're the best.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Let's go to WrestleMania.
All right, a big thank you to Bailey for coming on the show, but I want to talk to you guys about what we're celebrating right here today on WWE Now Raw Recap. It is Austin 316 Day. You can celebrate 3 decades of raising hell and bone-shattering stunners with new Stone Cold Steve Austin 30-year Signature Series title belts. You got one of those?
I've ordered one. I don't have it
You
yet,
have to.
but yeah.
They're featuring superstars, iconography, including rattlesnakes and smoking skulls. These are must-have collectibles for any Stone Cold fan. Get yours today at WWE Shop and Fanatics. Spring is almost here, and WWE Spring Gear brings fresh styles and bold colors just in time for the new season, letting fans show their superstar pride with lighter, comfortable apparel, perfect for warmer weather. Gear up for spring today at WWE Shop and Fanatics. We got our Austin 316 stuff on.
Yeah, that's right on the money. I went blood from a stone for 316 Day. But it's my hoodie because it's not spring weather yet. But when it's time for spring weather, I got the classic, arguably the greatest wrestling shirt ever made, Austin 316 T-shirt. When I get thirsty, I got my Stone Cold Steve Austin Texas Venom cup. Of course, I got you know why I got this? You know, I got the Stone Cold figure from Fanatics. So he and Little Sam can hang out.
Oh, you got to put them in the bathtub together.
Because he comes with the Steve Weiser.
It's the best. And
So
the cooler.
he and Little Sam, yeah. They'll share a cooler.
I got my classic Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 shirt on, but I cut mine, crop top.
I love it. You did a great thing. You know what's great about this is that it's a soft goods T-shirt with this Stone Cold figure. So Little Sam can wear. I say, hey, Stone Cold, can I borrow your shirt? And it'll be a whole thing. I'm
excited for you guys. I'm very excited.
That's for when I get home. That's for later on today. We talked to Bailey. AJ Lee, successful in her title defense against Bailey.
Yes.
Really a remarkable thing to see AJ Lee versus Bailey on Monday Night Raw in 2026. So much fun. Such a great match. Your big homie, who you never mention when the guests are on.
What?
You don't talk about Becky Lynch at all. When Bailey's on, when we have anybody that doesn't agree with her, you love the yap when the guests go away about Becky Lynch. But for whatever reason, she doesn't come up when the guests are on, which is weird because you had won an award, I thought, for your.
Well, I just want to say I think it was
broadcasting.
absolutely remarkable, and I think this probably should have been our lead story today on the Raw Recap. Becky Lynch's miraculous recovery.
From
She
what?
was out with an illness last week. I mean, it was a terrible illness, very bad.
What was
and
the illness?
A lot of people, most people, would have missed a week, maybe even a month.
She did miss a week.
Weeks.
Oh.
Maybe even a month. Would have missed weeks
For what?
for an illness, but
What
not Becky
illness?
Lynch. She was out last week. There was no vlog, nothing. Dealing with an illness. So I
didn't
just
notice.
think the miraculous recovery is not something that we're talking about enough. And I think every time that Becky is on our screens, we are just witnessing greatness. That happened again tonight with her recovery. And I also have to say,
Yeah.
when she was holding up that title, it looked right.
Yeah.
It looked right.
How come you didn't bring that up with Bailey?
It didn't come up.
It didn't.
No, it didn't come up.
She
We were
literally-
talking about the tag team. I mean, Becky's not in the tag title
She
picture.
literally brought Becky Lynch up.
I mean, she talked about how she got jumped.
That AJ Lee got jumped. She brought up Becky Lynch. It did come up.
I don't remember. I don't
Weird.
remember.
Literally just happened, but okay.
I don't remember. I just hope we get a vlog next week. I've really been missing the vlogs.
And you
the last
like
2
that.
weeks.
You like that. You think it's good that, AJ
Doesn't
Lee.
doesn't it look right?
No,
No.
she hasn't won the. No, it's not her title. I mean, the idea that AJ Lee has a great match. By the way, only her second singles match in a decade. Has a great match with Bailey. Is just,
It was great.
trying to leave the ring. And then gets sucker punched, attacked from behind. Gets beaten down after just wrestling from behind.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? Becky Lynch holds up the title as if she's won anything? When you go, oh, that looks right? I don't
Well,
understand.
I think it would just be an absolute sin and disgrace if we had WrestleMania without Becky Lynch.
That's like running 18 miles and then still getting the award at the marathon.
Some people did that.
I forgot.
Some people did that.
Yeah.
Not Becky Lynch. She
No?
wouldn't do that. No.
She doesn't run marathons.
No, she doesn't.
Right.
She's not a marathon girl. But that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't spell WrestleMania without the man. And Becky Lynch knows what time of year it is.
Without
She needs
man. You can spell it without
All right, we need to get all technical. You can't spell it without man.
There's no H in
Thank
WrestleMania.
you. Thank you. Thank
Go
you
to
so much for that.
Northwestern?
There's no H, but you can't spell it without man.
Oh.
You cannot spell WrestleMania without man.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be very disrespectful to have WrestleMania without Becky Lynch.
Sure.
We couldn't have it last year. People were so excited that Becky was back at WrestleMania last year. There were fans crying.
Yeah, they didn't know.
upon her
They didn't know
arrival.
that she jumped Bailey.
A lot of people said that Becky Lynch saved WrestleMania last year.
Who's?
A lot of people.
Who?
Tons. All over.
Okay, you could name one or no?
Me. I'm saying it. I am
Can't
saying it.
believe
And
it.
I'm not the only one who's saying it.
You're not?
No.
Okay.
Sports Illustrated, ESPN.
No, they're not saying that.
They're
They
all
said
saying
it.
it.
Okay.
By the way, did you see Rudd?
Rudd? Rudd?
Sophia Rudd?
I don't know who Sophia Rudd is.
I believe she was talking about her favorite wrestler.
I don't know who this person is.
I'll send you the clip.
Oh, good.
I will send you the clip.
Good.
Anyways,
If my notifications are on silence, don't bother. Right.
Becky Lynch back. I hope we get a vlog out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm just miraculous. It's been miraculous watching her recovery.
You would throw a deliver anyway if you saw that my notifications were silenced, wouldn't you?
Of course I would.
Okay. All right. That says it all. That says it all. What do you think of the of Bailey's pivot into the tag team championship realm? Kabuki's obviously not thrilled, but Bailey and Lyra kind of reconnecting after a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think Lyra has awoken something within Bailey. It's been an up and down year for Bailey, and I feel like when Bailey is at her lowest, losing a match against AJ Lee, Lyra is the one who kind of gives Bailey a little bit more of a pep in her step.
Sure.
And gets Bailey back to focusing on the task at hand. And instead of staying down too long, Lyra reminds her, hey, maybe there's another path and maybe there's another way we can get to WrestleMania. So I do like that dynamic between the two of them.
Speaking of WrestleMania, who is Randy Orton talking to? Randy
phone?
Orton, he is talking in riddles, this guy. I know he's he's a spellbinder, this Randy Orton. I don't know what he's saying anymore. All of he's talking in clues. And I mean, this is like Da Vinci Code or something like that. Randy Orton, who I guess, first of all, I don't know where he was. He was outside somewhere, it looked like to me, in front of some kind of gate. It didn't have great cell
I was
reception.
going to say the reception was a little questionable.
It was not great. I think he was on that flip phone that LeBron had when he went to the WWE show back in the day. But he said, Michael Cole, I know I promised you this interview, but I changed my mind, which doesn't feel like the greatest excuse in the world. But then he was on the phone, right? And I tried to pay attention to everything that he said because he goes, because especially once I realized he was talking in riddles and conundrums. He said something to the effect of, it was good seeing you a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, who did you see a couple weeks ago? Who was he talking to a couple weeks ago? Is he talking about Elimination Chambers? Is he talking about SmackDown? Is he talking about something we didn't even see? Who's he talking to a couple weeks ago? And then he says, luckily, I just talked to somebody that reminded me of who I am, that reminded me of why I did what I did on Friday night.
And then he says, Michael Cole, I'm a killer.
He says, I'm a killer. I go, yeah, that is Randy. That's 09 Randy, baby. We're back. And then he says, hey, wrestling has more than one royal family, right? Mm-hmm. And then that was it. And I'm like, well, what family is he talking about? Are we getting Cowboy Bob back? Is he talking about the Ortons? I mean, we've seen Randy and his father act cohesively together way in the past. Is it a different family? Is it something to do with the roads? Randy has done it all in his career. Randy has cashed in on the Orton name. He's done things with his father. Randy has gone after other families. Randy has he's done breaking and enterings. Randy has done it all. There is no line that Randy Orton won't cross. And that was a point that I kind of made on the Not Sam podcast when I was talking about this match, that for some reason, in the same breath, Cody asked for the old Randy and said that will happen once the bell rings. But the old Randy would never wait for the bell to ring.
Nope.
The old Randy would never wait to get the match in the ring. The old Randy would wait until that name is inked onto a piece of paper, and now the war's begun. That's what the old Randy would do. The old Randy would honestly do exactly what he did on SmackDown. And so now the fact that, like, it's almost like what's done is done. Mm-hmm. There's no taking it back. This is where we are now. Randy has no choice but to accept, this is who I am. I'm the old Randy. Now let me act accordingly. The old Randy doesn't just do one thing on one episode of SmackDown and then just kind of lay in the cut for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Right.
This is just the beginning.
Now it's like, what does Randy do from here?
And we've been waiting for this Randy to be unleashed. I mean, we've seen the looks that he was giving Cody Rhodes in that championship for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
For over a year and a half.
Staring at that title. Yeah. Do you have any idea who he was talking to?
The wrestling has more than one royal family was a line that really stuck out to me.
That's got to be a clue.
It has to be. But, I mean, which family is he talking about?
There's many families.
Especially in wrestling.
Yeah. I have no idea. Look, I do know that you'll be able to be a part of the bigger wrestling family this summer. WWE Universe, talking to you. We've got some huge news because your favorite WWE podcasts are recording live at Fanatics Fest in New York City this July 16th through the 19th at the Javits Center. Go to Fanatics Fest, 4 days this year, by the way,
right,
in New York City, and you can catch live episodes of What Do You Want to Talk About with Cody Rhodes. You can catch live episodes of Impulsive with Logan Paul. And apparently, there are rumors going around
what?
that you can catch live episodes of WWE Now.
What?
With Megan Morant and the last professional broadcaster, Sam Roberts. That's all going down at Fanatics Fest. And that's not all. WWE superstars are going to be in the building all weekend long, signing autographs, taking photos, making surprise appearances. Who knows who's going to pop up on these podcasts? Tickets are on sale now at fanaticsfest.com. Grab yours today, and we will see you there. I cannot wait. It is always so fun.
We're going, baby.
We're going.
Let's do it.
We will be there. Next week, it's official. The Vision had a meeting with disheveled Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman stayed on task. When the Vision was first formed, a big part of it was we need to get the championship because the championship holds power. It holds political power. It gives us leverage. Mm-hmm. And Paul Heyman looked at Logan Paul and Austin Theory right in the face and said, well, you don't have leverage. You can't go after Seth Rollins. We don't have it. You need to get those tag team championships. So apparently it's already happened. Austin Theory, Logan Paul, The Vision go 2-on-2 with the Usos next week on Monday Night Raw. I can't imagine what these Raws are going to be like leading up to WrestleMania if we're just starting to get cooking right now.
Well, and don't forget, after that interaction with both Logan Paul and Austin Theory, Logan Paul leaned in and said to Paul Heyman that just because he loves him so much, he's going after LA Knight too.
He said, I don't get LA Knight too. Who knows? The Vision could be tag team champions within the next 7 days.
Of course they could.
wild thoughts. Well, whatever happens, we will be here on Raw Recap on WWE Now to recap all of it. Make sure you're subscribed across all audio platforms. Make sure you're tuning in on the WWE's YouTube channel, hitting like, leaving comments, and we'll see you next week for another Raw Recap on WWE Now.